So let me ask you a question. What words and emotions naturally come to mind when you think of mathematics? Do you think of mathematics as artistic, creative, a human story full of intrigue, mystery, wonder, delight, or, oh, chuckles. I was recently perusing a number of mathematics education websites, and I came across plenty of photographs of happy students doing mathematics like this, dividing polynomials. And these images immediately took me back to my first days of teaching mathematics at high school. So let me tell you a little about my math career. I grew up in Adelaide, Australia, and my first exposure to mathematics was school mathematics. And it was far from joyous. We sat in rows, all facing forward, and our job was to memorize and do. Now I was a young lad full of questions. I want to know why things work the way they did, how things connect, but my job was not to ask questions. My job was to memorize and do. And it wasn't until I went to university and fell into an abstract algebra class, which is all about why mathematics works the way it does. Why does arithmetic work, hang together how it does? And I realized, oh my goodness, this is mathematics. And I felt at home, and I knew I was a mathematician. And I went all the way with it. In 1988, I came to this country, to the US, to earn a PhD in pure mathematics at Princeton. I went all the way. But I had a calling to share the joy of mathematics, and I didn't really know how to act on it. And I did what was expected of me. I became an assistant professor, and I followed all the norms and expectations of a tenure-track faculty member. But that calling only strengthened over the years. I could not bear the thought of generations of students having to wait 10, 12, 13 years to see what mathematics truly is and what it could offer them. So I took a step of action. I left the university world and became a high school teacher. And my very first year of teaching high school maths, I was faced with this. I was required to teach the teenagers staring up at me how to divide polynomials. And my first reaction was, why? Why on earth would anyone need to know this? As a research mathematician, did I ever divide two polynomials? Not that I can recall. Will these teenagers ever need to know this in their lives? Most likely not. So what are we doing here? So I realized this was my first moment to really take action. And I realized the story of polynomial algebra is not actually about polynomial algebra. It's about one of humankind's greatest intellectual achievements, the invention of place value, how we think and write numbers. So I decided to share the story of place value, the human story. Now my students certainly knew place value and the mechanics of it. They could actually do base 10 arithmetic. They'd been doing it all their lives. They did some basic algebra. They could do it. But they'd never actually experienced the story of place values and really internalized its subtleties and nuances. So I was going to share the story of place value. So I'll share it now with you. A story within a story. Let's do some math. All right, now I have trouble. I need both hands free. How am I going to do this? I'll do this. Okay. All right. We humans, is it working? Hello? Yeah. Okay. We humans are obsessed with the number 10. Why 10? We think it's really neat for counting because we've got these things on the end of our hands, 10 fingers. We think these are really nifty. So we humans work in base 10. Here goes. Click. In fact, how we think about, how we write numbers, how we visualize numbers is really all based on 10ness. The number 273 is literally 200, 10 tens. T, 7t, that ty is short for 10 and 3. It's 273. Though I do need to point out, not all cultures on this planet went base 10. Some cultures went base 20. You think, 20, where's that coming from? And you realize, oh, they must have been thinking fingers and toes. Whoa, so we have digits. We call these things digits on the end of our hands. We call the individual numbers and long numbers digits as well. Not a coincidence, but they said, we've actually got 20 digits. So they went base 20. And we have vestiges of base 20 to this day. For example, there's a very famous American president, Abraham Lincoln, who gave a very famous address, the Gettysburg Address, which begins 77 years ago. And think about it. Hang on, how many years ago is he talking about? 77. And then you realize, oh, score is a very old word for 20. He's actually saying 4 20s and 7 years ago, 87 years ago. And in fact, the French to this day still pronounce 87 in that very manner. 87 en français is 87, literally 4 20s and 7. Now, some cultures went base 10, some cultures went base 20, other cultures on this planet went base 12. You think, 12? Where's that coming from? Well, actually, there's a very natural way for us humans to count to 12 on one hand. We have 4 very long fingers, naturally divided into 3 sections, and this very handy pointer. And people count like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. In fact, you still see people do this to this day. It's very popular in Southeast Asia and parts of India. In fact, some of your students probably count this way. Very popular. And we have 12ness still to this day in our Western society. How many items in a dozen? It's 12. How many inches in a foot? It's 12. How many hours in a day? Now that sounds like a trick question. How many hours are in a day? Literally a day. If you think about it, when humankind started measuring time, the first clocks were sundials. And they only worked in daylight, shadows moving around a stick. So people said, oh, let's divide the day into 12 hours. It's only with the invention of water clocks and mechanical clocks people started measuring time at night as well. And they said, oh, if we're doing 12 hours in the day, we might as well do 12 hours at night as well. So we say 24 hours in a day. But the answer is literally 12 hours in a day. All right, so there's some very human context for different number value systems, but sometimes you've got non-human contexts. For example, computers really only have 2 fingers. They're little electrical switches that are either on or off for computers. So it's very natural for computer science to go base 2. We only need 2 symbols. Or, for example, Martians with 6 fingers on a hand naturally think 6 is the way to go to think about arithmetic and counting and so forth. Grand and good. All right, so why am I telling this story to my students? I think I can stand up now. So why go through this place value story with my students? Because my students suddenly realized, oh, be it base 2, base 10, base 20, base 12, base 6, it doesn't matter. Or even base x. It's all the same. It's exactly the same. Base 10 arithmetic, base x arithmetic is identical mathematically, and the storyline. I actually taught how to divide polynomials by not teaching how to divide polynomials. So people ask me, James, do you think polynomial algebra should be in the high school curriculum? And I actually say yes, if it's this story. Because it provides a stunning opportunity to celebrate one of humankind's greatest intellectual achievements, the invention of place value. It gives a stunning opportunity to teach metacognition, the ability to step back and see a big picture. It's a stunning opportunity to teach flexibility of thought, how to be creative with your thoughts, and how to be confident with your thoughts. Absolutely yes. Now, a colleague of mine saw what I was doing, teaching the story of place value and polynomial algebra this way, with these visual pictures of dots and boxes. I call them exploding dots. And she said to me, James, you've got to bring this to the world. So we did. We brought together a team of 7 people, and we just declared that October 10th is going to be the start of Global Math Week. In fact, each and every year, from now on, October 10th is the start of Global Math Week. We just declared it. And we chose this date, 10/10, because whether you read it like an Australian day month or like an American month day, you'll be right. You'll get the same date in your mind. Plus, it kind of looks like binary, which is kind of neat. So we just declared this is going to be the start of Global Math Week. And we put together a whole slew of resources. We created lesson plans and practice problem sets, and we made videos and host them on a website. And I have to thank the American Institute of Mathematics for giving us a place to host this website. And we said, okay, we need to invite teachers across the world to come to our website. So we said, okay, we'll go on social media. We really had no resources. We had no social media following, just nominal, each of us. And we just offered an invitation to teachers to come to our website, check out Exploding Dots, and just try it once, sometime during Global Math Week. Well, teachers did. During our first Global Math Week, 2017, I remember sitting in my dining room, had the laptop open on the dining room table, and I was alone. I was watching the counter on our website click by. On the second day, it was a Tuesday, around 11 a.m., I saw that counter turn to the number 1 million. 1 million students and teachers across the planet were united by a single common piece of mathematics: school mathematics. School mathematics had transcended borders and united communities. And I have to say, forgive me, I'm verklempt. I actually cried at the moment. It was so stunning. We've been going strong ever since. We're now at 6.9 million students from over 160 different countries and territories. It's just amazing. Well, just amazing. I was recently asked to reflect on the work of the Global Math Project. And the first question asked me was, so James, what is mathematics? And I responded, mathematics is an intensely creative human enterprise that has engaged humankind for thousands of years. It is continually being created, invented, discovered by humans. It is continually being used by humans. It is continually being enjoyed by humans. And as such, each and every human on this planet should be properly invited to the wonders of mathematics. So, my story. I felt a call to action. I took a local step of action. My eyes were open to something bigger, something bolder, something audacious. We stepped into the world, we stepped into the unknown, and offered the world an invitation. And the world accepted. So, let me ask you this. In your space, in your core place of passion and meaning, what step of action could you take to bring meaning, to bring connection, to bring joy? What invitation could you offer one and all so that we, humans, can better connect as humans? And if you do take such a step of action, might you be up for something bigger, something bolder, something audacious, something that just might include and unite all of humanity? Thank you.